everyone, and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. In this, our July 7th, 2020 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including Henry Cavill responding to Superman rumours, Cain going on a cancel culture rant, and we're going to be talking about a lot of other topics, including topics that you would like to discuss, and let you know how you can get involved in tonight's show and how you can be involved as both a watcher, a listener, and asking questions. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. How's it going today?
Going well. And yourself?
I'm just kind of curious why you shrunk yourself down and put yourself on my hutch over my desk. I mean, it's going to be distracting not looking at you over here. But anyways, folks, this is WGBS Live, and WGBS Live is all about Superman. And because of that, we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching us live right now on YouTube. So if we don't have a whole lot going on, about halfway through the show, we're going to start taking your calls. How do we do that? Well, it's pretty simple. First, you're going to need Skype. Okay, maybe that's not simple for everybody. You're going to need Skype. You're going to find Superman homepage, and you're going to message us that you'd like to be on the show. Now, a couple of things, because it's kind of important. One, message us. Don't just call, because that can screw things up. And two, if you are watching WGBS Live with an external speaker, please turn that down, because we are on a bit of a delay, and that can create some weird distortion effects. I mean, most people are probably finding out with Zoom calls and stuff now. Like, if somebody's not having their speaker set right, you hear an echo and then another echo and then another echo.
Yeah, just an infinite loop. And happy birthday to John Patrick Van Pelt, who turns 35 today. So happy birthday to one of our regulars and one of our contributors. So thank you very much. Now, if you're watching this live, you're either doing it via YouTube or our website. If you are on YouTube, we invite you to chat with fellow fans, post your comments and ask questions. Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments throughout the show, so get involved. And if you want your comment to appear on screen during the show, feel free to post a super chat. All you have to do is click on the dollar symbol and a slider will appear on your screen. You decide a dollar amount that you're prepared to donate, and we'll feature your comment or question on screen, just like we did with John Patrick Van Pelt's birthday announcement. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support. Well, Michael, another week in the world of COVID-19. Things are improving here in the state where I live, New South Wales, here in Australia. We've got restrictions lifted, gyms are open, all that kind of stuff. But you guys in the US just are really struggling to get a cap on this thing.
Yeah, I'm even done being kind of nice about it. We're bungling this, and we have an administration that is telling everyone that we're not bungling it. Australia, I think, has had a total of 106 deaths.
Something around that, yeah.
One of my friends another friend that lives in Australia, yeah, we're at like 130,000. So, and they had 50,000 cases yesterday. And I'm just gonna go out. This is actually gonna tie into the Dean Cain talk too. Wear a mask and social distance. It's how we're gonna beat this. People going to the beach, people going to bars that opened up. It's just crazy. Thankfully in the area I'm in, it's not bad yet. But I'm watching states like Florida and Texas and California, and the cases keep mounting, and they're getting to the point where there's not going to be enough ventilators. And then some hard decisions are going to had to be made. So wear a mask.
Yes.
For the love of God, wear a mask.
Exactly. All right, well, people come to our show to try to escape all
I'm sorry.
the realities of the world. No, well, I asked and you responded, so it's on me. But let's get into the topics of Superman. And we like to start with the movie side of things. And there have been a lot of rumors circulating around about the internet in regards to Henry Cavill. Is he coming back? Has he signed on for more movies? Will it just be cameo roles? There's just so much more to this story than we know. And Henry participated in Variety and iHeart podcast, The Big Ticket, where he spoke about his life during COVID-19's lockdown. He spoke about The Witcher and what's happening with the production there. And he also talked about the rumours surrounding his return to the role of Superman. Just going to play a bit of what he had to say in regards to those rumours.
The important thing is that people are excited about it. And I think it's important to be excited about a character like Superman. Superman's a fantastic character. And if people are chatting about it, and even if they're making stuff up, it's okay, because that means they want to see the character again. And in an ideal world, I would absolutely love to play the character again.
So in an ideal world, he'll absolutely love to play the character again. He's saying he's happy that people are discussing Superman, even if they're making crap up. The main thing there is that people are excited to see another Superman movie. They want him in another Superman movie. And, but he does say that there is a lot of stuff that's just being made up, that it's so hard for him to sit back and read all this stuff and go, where is that coming from? There's no truth to that. But he admits that he doesn't get online in a anonymous role and kind of react or comment because he feels that's not what Superman would do, which just goes to show that on one hand we have this guy who's just so ethical and moral about what Superman represents that he won't even go online in an unofficial capacity to comment on things. Like, he won't be a troll, if you like. Yet we have others who are, which we'll discuss later on. But, geez, I like Henry.
Yeah, I like Henry too. So what Henry's saying is that Superman wouldn't put on a disguise and not tell people who he is and just kind of live among people. Okay, that's... I get what he's saying. No, I'm being snarky for the sake of comedy. But no, it's just he always seems to have, ever since he's gotten the role, I have never seen him put a foot wrong on things that he says. He is, I'm going to just guess that he is just, that it's all real. Because you can kind of tell sometimes when he's asked a question that he can't answer, and he gets kind of cagey about it. But when he's just giving an answer, I feel like that's just, that's coming from the heart. And I like the fact that he wants people, that he's happy, that people are happy, that they want him in the role. But, everything's up in the air right now. So it's not like they're going to be doing another movie within the next 6 months. I mean, he usually has to work out a couple months before they, start filming and all that. Plus, we need a script and a director and some really inconvenient things like that. So, but yeah, it's got to be really frustrating to, there are these people that are like, well, celebrities, live in the public life, so they've got to accept what comes along with that. What that says to me is you want to act like a terrible person and justify it. But there's got to be something about reading things about yourself that just aren't true. And I guess, there's a difference between, you're having an affair with somebody or you're going to play Superman. I wonder what's more upsetting. But yeah. So, he's a ledge. Let me put it that way. To use his own words about Superman back at him.
Yeah, there are lots of rumors and speculation. We're even getting some in our comments now about Henry's love life and what have you. And it's all, rumor and speculation, who he gets photographed with, who he gets seen with, where he hangs out. But it must be hard looking online. I mean, he is a fan first and foremost. He has, and he would, wants to go online, and I know personally that he does visit the Superman homepage. He's told me that in person himself. I don't know how much he does continually, but he's obviously aware of the website and has told me that it's the only Superman site he visits for his information. But it must be hard to look online and see people writing things about you, saying things about you, and having this speculation going on about what your professional career is doing and where it's going and what's happening with a character that you'd love to play, but not have the capacity to be able to answer those for logistical, contractual, all other different reasons that you just have to keep a tight lip.
Yeah, I mean, people. Sometimes it's because it's just not true, and it doesn't really benefit him to address it one way or the other. Some of it's probably a non-disclosure agreement, that he's signed, but he won't say anything until the studio tells him he can say something, which is their right to do. It's their movie. They're the ones who get to. We've talked about how it's kind of weird that they would premiere a trailer at San Diego and then get miffed when it got online. And we understood that they kind of want to control it, but why show it just for like a couple people and not everybody else to get everybody else talking? So there's a difference between not wanting something revealed before all the contracts are signed, everything's in place, we know we're doing this, and we have a trailer. So
true. All right, so we still don't know where things are at with Henry and Superman role. We'll just have to wait and see what pans out. It is still a very tumultuous time in the world of television and film production. Even the movies that are completed are still pushing back their release dates, like Wonder Woman 1984. It's just really up in the air at the moment what's going on. So when films are completed and they still don't know what's happening, it doesn't say much for the films that are speculated to even start pre-production that we can even speculate as to what's happening there. But looking on the movie side of things, but for the digital streaming services, HBO Max have continued to show their superhero movies that are available for subscribers. And they've now swapped out the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice theatrical cut for the Ultimate Edition, which adds, extra 30 minutes of footage. The 3 full hours of the film are now available on HBO Max for subscribers, which is a better version of the film, regardless of what you think of it.
Yeah, I mean, even me, who's not a fan of the film, will say the Ultimate Edition is the one you need to watch because it actually has all of the different pieces that are part of Lex Luthor's plan. And I think more is better in this case. Sometimes extra scenes don't really do anything to add to the movie. But in this case, I think if you're going to watch Batman v Superman, if you want to sit down and watch it, watch the Ultimate Edition. Because there's an edition that got released without a hashtag. So on that, it's it's kind of better. So
yeah, no, it definitely fleshes out the story and explains a lot of the Africa side of things, where Superman is accused of doing this, that, and the other, and it adds more flavor to it. So it's definitely a better version of the film. And it was released as a 3D Blu-ray and Blu-ray combo pack, which you can purchase through our website if you don't necessarily have access to HBO Max. But if you do, then well and good, sit down and set aside 3 hours of your day to check out that version of the film if you haven't seen it before. More on Superman movie stuff, there is an auction currently taking place for this Christopher Reeve Superman costume, cape, sorry. It's the flying and mechanical cape that was used during Superman the movie and Superman 2. It's being sold through julianslive.com. It's the blue screen traveling matte wire flying and Studio's optic front projection flying cape. Has the S symbol on the back, stitched to the back there. It has 2 sets of black snaps on either side of the shoulder area, and it was obviously also used for flying sequences because it has 2 Velcro slits at the sides so that wires could be attached to the harness hidden under the costume. Piece of movie memorabilia that will go down in history, and it's only going to set you back between $20,000 and $40,000.
I got that on my couch. No, it's funny when you read the official title of the cape. Like, if you don't know anything about the making of Superman the movie, that's just all gibberish.
Yeah.
It's just like that would not make sense to a quote unquote to a person who's not familiar. But if you're like, oh, when you hear it and you know the behind the scenes stuff, I was fascinated as a kid when I was about 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old. The Smithsonian American History Museum in Washington D.C. was a museum that my family would visit quite often. We'd go to D.C. a lot. Because we had relatives in the area. We go to the Air and Space Museum and the Art Museum, but from like 87 to 88, they had a Superman, Many Lives, Many Worlds was the name of the exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
So for like the first time, like it was everything about like something I was actually interested in. Whereas, well, great, you get to see Fonzie's jacket, woo. But no, this was all a bunch of Superman stuff, and one of the things they had was one of the breakaway shirts from Superman the movie. And it was at that age that I realized, wait, that wasn't a real shirt? So there's so much to what we see on the screen that nowadays a lot of it's, I mean, like Henry Cavill's cape was mostly CGI.
Yeah.
So that, you could do all kinds of things. It's not easy, but you don't have anything physically that you're dealing with. Whereas back then, they had to figure out not only how to get this guy to fly, but how to get the costume to look good while he was flying. So that's why all these different capes are kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really fascinating, and this one has obviously got some wear and tear on it from the use and from time, but yeah, really fascinating. Walking capes, flying capes, standing capes. All different situations that the cape would be required to look or feel a certain way. So it is fascinating that just how much time and effort went into and was involved in making the cape look the way it needed to be from the costume department. And so this bit of Superman movie memorabilia is not signed by Christopher Reeve. There was no need in those days for it. It's not like it was being made as a bit of memorabilia. It was made as a prop, as a bit of costume for the movie itself. So it's just being signed as is with the tabs and everything identifying it to be authentic. And the auction ends on July 17th. Head to julianslive.com for further details, more photos, and if you have the money to place a bid.
I like what Mark says in the chat. 30,000. He won't go a bit higher. So I wish I was in that position to make that kind of decision. So.
Indeed. So yeah, it's a bit of true memorabilia there. All right. Well, on to the topic at hand that created a lot of buzz and a lot of discussion around the internet. Comic book writers and artists got involved. It created quite a bit of uproar, and he's known to do so, and I'm talking about Dean Cain. He's been very outspoken and has been for a while in his political views. He has upset a lot of Superman fans who try to hold the actors to the morals and ethics that the character himself portrays, as seen by Henry Cavill. Yes, actors aren't perfect. They've got their own idiosyncrasies, their own opinions. They're not always going to be the same as everybody else. But in this case, Dean Cain seems to love to go out and create a bit of controversy. He seems to be really, I don't know what the word is, but baiting a lot of people. He loves to create a bit of a stir. He gets a lot of hate for the things that he says, and he seems to revel in that rather than try to be, I don't know what the word is there either. But he just seems to be a big one of these people, just stirring the pot all the time with his views. And he said the same thing with an article that was printed, an op-ed in the Time magazine about re-examining TV and film superheroes and police officers. There's been maybe a little bit of an overreaction on the studio's side of things when they're cancelling or reworking certain TV shows, things like Paw Patrol. That seems to be an overreaction to me. You know, dogs who are, you know, first responders, police officers, ambulance or whatever. It's a kids program, and yet they're making changes there because of the, you know, the problems in society as to, you know, our views of police officers, especially there in the US with the Black Lives Matter situation. I'll play what Dean said first, a bit of what he had to say, and then you can add your views, Michael, and what you think about Dean Cain's opinions on this matter. Here we go. Here's what Dean had to say.
So this stuff all just drives me insane. I promise you, as Superman, I wouldn't today be allowed to say truth, justice, and the American way.
Wouldn't be able to say truth, justice, and the American way in today's world.
Okay, so one, he's on the Fox Morning Show on Fox News. And right there, when you're watching that program, my dogs are freaking out because there's a storm.
Maybe they're freaking
when
out
you're
because
watching
you're talking about Fox and Friends.
Yeah, well, that's entirely possible. You know, I know that there are people who watch this that are, you know, and Superman fans are of all political persuasions. You know, conservatives, liberals, progressives, hardcore, you know, alt-right, whatever. The fact of the matter is that Fox News trades in controversy. Mm-hmm. They say things just to get other people talking about it. Him going on and saying this is, you know, he's gone on the show before and said different similar things. My first reaction was Dean, you didn't say it when you were Superman, so shut up. It was third episode, Never Ending Battle, where Lois says, oh, you fight for truth, justice, and the American way, and he says, well, truth and justice, and we'll stick with that. So don't get on your high horse, because you weren't saying it in 1993. Second thing is, it is this whole victimization part of it is just like, I couldn't even say this today. Like we're not, cancel culture is a completely separate issue here. Cancel culture, yes, can go awry. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I think there are people that are way too overreacting. I think the Paw Patrol thing is just like, I think that's a bridge too far. The United States especially does need to have a hard conversation with itself about certain institutions. Him going on and talking and trading on the fact that he was Superman for 4 seasons on television to gain notoriety, it's more than anything, it's kind of sad. But it's just this whole, it was that on top of him sharing a photo of himself on Twitter and other social media platforms where he had to wear a mask on an airplane. It looked like he was in first class, I might add, because those were some nice seats behind him. And he was just like, I'm breathing my own CO2, and I think I got a brain drain. And he's just like, and then when people called him on it, it was, oh, you just can't take a joke. No, you're joking about wearing something that is trying to save lives. So it's not just that he was Superman. Like you said, he's a person. These people have to have their own lives. We can't constantly hold them to a standard that is impossible to live up to. But at the same time, I think if you're using that notoriety to gain to get attention to yourself, to maybe get into the next low rent, fundamentalist Christian movie that you're guest starring in, or whatever Christmas movie you're doing this season, or whatever Christy Swanson alt-right movie you're doing, or going on stage and reading transcripts from FBI texts that was all part of the Mueller investigation. I mean, that's fine, but leave Superman out of it. Superman means a lot to different people. And the funniest thing about this to me was I don't have like a huge Twitter, like a lot of people. I've got a pretty, for what I do, I think I have a pretty decent Twitter following. It's not something I judge. But when I tweet something, it gets, half a dozen likes. I'm happy with that. I'm like, hey, yeah, look at that. I tweeted this meme about him, and that thing got like 1,300 likes and 300 shares, and I've never had that happen. My phone was not... I like had to mute it because my phone kept going off. Which I don't know how people who do this professionally deal with that. I guess you're used to it at a certain point. But what it tells me is that this is something that people feel strongly about. And there were all kinds of reactions to it. There were people who wanted to play the victim, saying, "Oh, you're just picking on him because he's a conservative, and everyone picks on conservatives." And then there was the two people that accused me of being racist, because he's part Asian. So obviously, I don't want him to be Superman because he's part Asian, which legitimately, that was a criticism I've heard over the years, but I always dismissed it the same way I dismissed people saying that Lawrence Fishburne could have played Perry White. Like, shut up, okay? Yeah, but that had nothing to do with it. And I am not going to sit there and write a dissertation every time I post something on Twitter, and I'm not going to respond to you because I don't have time for that. But it's just, it bothers me that this is what he's doing to get attention on himself. This is how he gets jobs. I'm sure he is on Fox News enough to maybe think that maybe he's one of their commentators, so he may actually get paid for that.
Quite possibly. Now, someone's accusing us in the comments of only liking politics in comics when it's the politics that we agree with. And that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of things that Dean Cain said in this rant on Fox News that I agree with. Going too far on the Paw Patrol and the cancel culture and all that kind of stuff, cancelling things and what have you as a knee-jerk reaction. I don't disagree with him on that. But it's his using his political stance in a way that is portraying things in a negative light unnecessarily, creating controversy unnecessarily. The thing with the mask that can endanger lives, that is where you've got to draw the line. And Tom King, one of the writers, comic book writers, took him to task on Twitter, posting the fact that Truth, Justice, and the American Way was used in a recent Superman Up in the Sky digital comic books issue, where the phrase was used, so it's still being used and associated with Superman today. It's just a debate on whether or not the American way is what people think it is, what it used to be. And I guess that's where yes, it wasn't used in Superman Returns, wasn't used in Lois and Clark, and it's a throwback to something that was created in the 1950s when it was a simpler time. And the American way was seen as being a new positive outlook on life after World War II, and I guess the debate now is whether or not the American way is what it stood for back then.
And more to the point of some of the things that are coming up in the comments, the things that I criticized really didn't have anything to do with his politics. I took exception to him using the American way, saying I couldn't say that today. I was pointing out that he never said it. So it's disingenuous to say, well, I couldn't say it today when you never said it. And the mask thing has nothing to do with politics at all, despite what members of both parties are trying to push here. And as far as the whole thing blowing up in the comments about, Mind the Gap saying 60s and 70s Marvel and DC was filled with young left-leaning people. Reason why 60s and 70s Marvel was filled with young left-leaning people is that the previous generation asked for basic health care and were shown the door, so a bunch of scabs came in who didn't know they were scabs. So let's be honest about what we're saying here, and let's be honest about why things happen. So, and I really hate that. It's just like, you like politics only if it's what you agree with. That is not true at all, but that doesn't mean that I have to give equal time to both sides when I'm complaining about something. If I don't like something that's left-leaning, I'll point that out, trust me. And we talked, we both said, The Paw Patrol thing, way out of line. I thought, okay, that's really silly. But it's more of using his pulpit. It's similar to the author of a very successful line of books and movies based on a young wizard using her platform to say terrible things about transgender people. He is using the platform that he has based on the fact that he was Superman and that show was incredibly popular to basically either troll people who are wearing masks. I mean, what is with... I don't even understand that. Like, why are you making fun of people wearing masks except that you're trying to appeal to the people that are yelling at shopkeepers and baristas and all over this country, just getting into people's faces and throwing unholy temper tantrums just because we're trying to slow and stop a pandemic. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah. It's got nothing to do with politics.
This is why we don't talk about this that much.
No, but it doesn't have anything to do with politics. Of course, neither you or I have ever stated where we lean. You know, obviously Australian politics are completely different to the US. It has nothing to do with politics. This is about being responsible, and this is about, as you said, using Superman for your own agenda, and so we can put that aside as to what the American way stands for, or whether it's Superman said it in that comic book or somebody else said it. We're not here to necessarily spout politics. We're here to talk about responsibilities, and as an actor who played Superman, you have a responsibility as a role model to a lot of people, and that's exactly where you're coming from. It's about not using that to grandstand and get up on your soapbox and necessarily do something that's irresponsible.
Yeah, it's just I understand that there are people in this world, and just to placate people on both sides of the aisle, that are paid to go on television and espouse a certain belief. And how they're paid, where they're paid, sometimes that can get really murky, but commentators are a thing. I honestly don't know what would happen if someone offered me a lot of money to go on television and say something. I probably would say no if I found it abhorrent, because I like being married. For one thing. I want to be able to come home and have my wife look me in the eye and not, constantly mad at me. But Dean Cain, in addition to being an actor, he is on Fox News a lot. A lot. I mean, like Steve said, this isn't the first time he's gone on Fox News and said something about being Superman. He's gone on Fox News and talked about how sometimes you just got to take jobs you don't like. Look at all these terrible roles I've taken. I've taken those because I needed to work and support my family. And to a certain extent, I'm like, well, I don't like where you're coming from this, but that's a very honest thing to say. He didn't want to be in all those Christmas movies with the dogs. I don't think. I don't know. But conversely, you have Brandon Routh coming out and wearing a Superman mask, I might add, and saying, I do this to help my fellow man. And I don't know if he was trolling Dean Cain, because it kind of felt a little trolly. But still, to point to what Steve was saying, that's how you use your platform to help people, not to make fun of people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, well, it's time to get off our soapbox and get to a commercial break. We're about halfway through the show, and then when we come back, we're going to look to the comic book side of things, and there's quite a bit happening this week. So back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the battle of the Superpowers Collection. Can it be the Supermobile on the attack, the Lexor 7 armed with kryptonite? Will the Supermobile repel those deadly rays?
You bet. Ready for battle. Activate RAM.
New from Kenner's Superpowers Collection. Vehicles and figures with power action, each sold separately. Flying lessons for Penguin, fish bait for Luther. Can the Supermobile defeat the Lexor 7? You decide.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode.
So, back on WGBS TV Live, where we turn our attention to the comic book side of things. And as I said, it is a big week for what's happening in as far as what comic books are available for Superman fans to read this week. And we'll go through them right now. We have Deceased Dead Planet #1, which is available in a variety of different variant covers, including a movie replica cover. Also available this week is Justice League #48, which is also, yes, available in a variant cover. As is Lois Lane #12, the final issue of this 12-issue maxi series. That is also available in a variant cover. Superman #23 is out this week, and that, yes, is also available in a Lightning variant cover, which makes up part of our background on the Superman homepage at the moment. Young Justice #16 is also out this week, and that is available in this variant cover. And then on the trades and collectibles side of things, we have the Crisis on Infinite Earths Paragons Rising Deluxe Edition hardcover. We have Justice League of America by Brad Meltzer, the deluxe edition hardcover. We have Superboy, a celebration of 75 years hardcover. There's also a new edition of Supergirl Being Super trade paperback. And on the digital side of things, the digital first publishing program, issue #10 of Superman, the Man of Tomorrow is available to download.
So somebody was sharing from that Crisis hardcover that's coming out that reprints the 100-page giants. They have some concept art for what they had proposed for Brandon Routh's costume.
Cool.
And it's a really nice picture of Routh as the Kingdom Come Superman. So I would definitely recommend that. Plus, it's got that Jerry Ordway cover.
Yeah, and you reacted to Lois Lane #12.
That variant cover's really nice.
Let me see if I can bring it up for you again.
While you were doing that, I almost changed my shirt really quick to show that I have a variant cover too. No, that's just a really nice. Lois looks great. It's kind of retro, and I like the composition with all the images around her. I hadn't seen that yet. I just looked at that and went, ooh. So.
Yeah, so there you have it. A big week for comic book readers. All the previews are available on our website for what's available. We've also already reviewed a number of the books, including Superman #23, which was reviewed by Adam DeChannel, who actually, for the first time in a long time, has given a 4 out of 5 to this book by Brian Michael Bendis. I'll turn off that Lois Lane cover, and that one as well. There it is, Superman #23. He says, finally, after so long, the storyline since Action Comics 1001 to now. So it's like a recap of many things, but it also acknowledges Clark thinking about his revelation of his secret identity to the world, and the fact that John's aging process has really knocked him about, and he's, there's been a lot of things that have happened since Bendis come on board, and that's kind of all fleshed out in this comic book and spoken to, and there's a bit of magic involved here, magic topics involved, but all in all, Adam, it says it's kind of creative for Bendis to look at the decision from a writing point of view, from the character's point of view, as to the decision being made in writing.
This is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, and it's not. Bendis is really good at navel gazing. And again, that sounds like I'm insulting him. I'm not. It is hard to write a story that is examining what you've done as a writer and make it interesting to the reader. So if he made Adam interested in this issue, I without even reading it, without even looking at it, I'm like, it's got to be good, because Adam has not been
Bendis' biggest fan.
Happy with what's going on, and it's a nice balance between him and James over on Action. So it's not like we're just being Debbie Downers.
No.
I've always felt that the reviews on the site were very well balanced between people that were liking what they were reading and people that weren't. But no, I've also seen a couple people on Twitter and such saying really good things about this issue. Not that I'm running out and buying it, but still.
Yeah, so check it out. Also, I mentioned the new version of Supergirl being Super the trade paperback. This was released, if I'm looking at my review, back in, I think it was last year, it was released as a 4-issue miniseries. And
that was 2016.
16. Yeah, I thought it was a bit more than last year.
Yeah, so, it was right around the time the TV series started, as a matter of fact. I remember that coming out.
So what they've done is, interestingly, they've reissued it as a collected edition for 2020, but they've had a new artist come on board to color it. And I'm going to show you, this is the cover here to the trade paperback. It's thank you. I tried to hold that in, but it was just tickling the end of my nose. So what you have here right in front of you now is what was originally the colorization of this particular panel, and here is what they've done this time around. So they've muted the colors.
They're doing that two-tone thing.
Two-tone thing, yeah. So here's another example. There's one panel that was in the original comic book, and here is the new version.
That's actually smart, because when I saw this new cover, I was just like, they're really going after the kind of the YA graphic novel market with that. Mm-hmm. So not coloring it, sometimes when you go in and muck with these things, it doesn't look as good. But in all honesty, I kind of like the idea that they recolored it to kind of try to grab a new audience with it.
Yeah, so it's not neither here. I mean, the artistic style is still the same. It's just the colorization is completely different. If I'm brutally honest, I prefer the more realistic coloring. I'm not, this artistic two-tone thing is, when you've seen one and then you compare, I don't mind it, but having seen the original, I'm thinking, oh, geez, I don't know if you should mess with what you already did. But, I don't mind the look if I hadn't seen the original version.
Yeah, I'd seen the differences. I didn't really twig that was what was going on with it, but to a certain extent, see, I read the first issue and it just didn't grab me.
Yeah.
I realized that, certain stories are timeless and, everybody should be able to read it. I wasn't ready for another realistic depiction of a Kryptonian learning that they have superpowers.
Yeah,
I was just not there. I'm kind of not there right now, too. But looking at that recoloring, I don't know why. I just think, I guess it's one of those things. It's like, wow, that's smart. That is so smart. Good job. Good job trying to get to a new audience.
And that book is out today, July 7th. So it is available today, and our review is up on the website. It's by me, the review. So check it out. With the original review from our original reviewer in there as well. No need to re-review the story. Just my personal opinion on the new colorization is up there on the website. All right, on the merchandise side of things, this really cool art print by Sideshow Collectibles with art by Ryan Sook is now available to pre-order. This print is called Lois and Clark Fireworks. It's a fine art print, as I said, by Ryan Sook. The picture-perfect print captures the spark between Lois and Clark as they share a kiss in front of the onlooking staff of the Daily Planet. Light from above outlines the classic comic book couple and illuminates a fantastic 4th of July edition of the Daily Planet newspaper that reads, Fireworks. Your dogs and your pets probably won't appreciate that headline.
Nope.
But nevertheless, this was announced on July 4th and is a 400 limited edition print, which you can purchase from Sideshow Collectibles through our website, and it goes for $95.
I don't like it that much. It's a nice print. I appreciate sweet depictions of Lois and Clark in love. And I think her leg getting kicked up a little bit like that's kind of cute as well. Mm-hmm. So, no, it's wasn't that a variant cover? Or am I imagining that?
Yes, no, it says it was originally... Where did I read it? Was it part of this... I don't think it's on the press release, but I think it was a magazine cover or some kind of a variant. No, here it is. Originally published as card art for the Versus System trading card game.
Okay. Ooh, wow, that's going back a ways. Dude, does anybody remember the Versus trading card game? Okay. Wow. Okay. That's a deep cut.
Versus trading card game for DC. When was that released? Let's have a look. Doing a quick search here. Yeah, I'm not seeing a release date for it, but Wikipedia
it was
here.
Early 2000s, at least.
Yeah, it was first published in 2004, if I'm correct, and then was cancelled in 2009 or was discontinued.
Yeah, I grabbed a starter pack and all that just to kind of see what it was like, but I never really fell in love with trading cards. I do embarrassingly have an entire, that I bought years ago, an entire box of Overpower cards. If anybody remembers Overpower, congratulations, you're old.
No, John, it doesn't come with sound effects. It's just a print. It's embossed. It's wrapped, hand rolled in acid-free paper, inserted in a protective plastic sleeve, and shipped in a 4-inch diameter tube. So it's just a print that you can hang.
Yeah,
you can frame it, but it is officially licensed by DC Comics. So no special effects.
That's an expensive print.
Yeah, I'd want it framed.
It's a glorified
glass.
It's a glorified poster.
It is authorized, automated, signature, signed by Ryan Sook, whatever that means. So I don't think it's personally signed by each. That's
it's an auto pen.
Yeah. 400 signatures. You just you cramp up after doing that 400 times. But so that's a print. If you want it, you got the money for it. Head to our website. You can buy it through Sideshow Collectibles. But something that you might want to spend your money on instead. What are you having a look at? Oh yes, you saw the image come up on my screen there.
I want that so bad.
San Diego Comic-Con was cancelled due to COVID-19, but Funko is still bringing their exclusive Comic-Con figurines to the masses online. And you can get this Funko Cyborg Superman vinyl pop figure. It's a limited edition figure. It is one of 3 DC offerings from Funko, One of them is the Cyborg Superman, and it's a limited edition, as I said. And the other two in the three of them is Black Lightning, Ra's al Ghul, and of course Cyborg Superman. This year's Funko San Diego Comic-Con Virtual Con, where these figures will take place, will be available. It will take place from Sunday, July 19th to Saturday, July 25th. And so many people have just gone off about this figure. It looks pretty cool.
It's adorable. I have always liked the Cyborg Superman as a design. I thought it was the comic book version, the original comic book version, was just so smooth. I don't buy pops normally because
that's a slippery
there's
slope.
a lot of them. Yeah, that is. That's you like, I'm just gonna get one, and 6 months later you wake up in a pile of pops and you don't remember where you were the night before. But I'm gonna look into that one because that would look really nice on the bookshelf.
Yeah, for sure. So Sunday, July 19th to Saturday, July 25th is the Funko Comic-Con Virtual Con. All right. If you have a bit of extra money and you want to help fundraise a bit of a makeover for the Superman statue in Metropolis, Illinois, the Metropolis Chamber of Commerce is relaunching their popular fundraiser of engraved bricks on Superman Square. So these bricks go around the base of the Superman statue, and the Superman... turn that off there. The Superman statue in Metropolis, Illinois, as you can see, at the base of the statue and around the border are all these bricks where you can have up to 3 lines of text, alphanumeric, whatever it might be. You might want to post a message, your name, your date of birth, your website, whatever the case might be. You can buy an engraved brick and help with the restoration of the Superman statue, which has been standing for 27 years. And with harsh weather and a layer of paint, it's taken its toll on the Man of Steel. And so during this downtime with no Superman celebration, the Metropolis Chamber of Commerce are going to kind of sand it back, if you like, repaint it, get it back to its glorious original state. And those bricks will help fundraise that effort to restore the Superman statue to its full glory. And if you want to get involved,
please,
supermancelebration.net. There's all the details on our website. 4-inch by 8-inch clay bricks will sell for $100 each. And as I said, you can engrave whatever you want on there, and that'll be a permanent fixture around the Superman statue there in Superman Square in Metropolis, Illinois. All right. Well,
I'm thinking of doing it.
Yeah,
it's just to see how much it is.
It's a great idea. So $100, that's what you can do for that. All right, Michael, this week in history, let's play your intro for you and see what we have from this week.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Man, it is so helpful that I can see that now. All right, going back to 1940, we have Superman number 6, which has a classic cover.
Get that one.
Yes, it came out on July 10th. It's a classic cover where Superman signs it looks like an autograph from Superman signing it as Clark Kent. So obviously he had no self-preservation with with his secret identity. You have, going to 1950, Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, number 47, where you have Jimmy and Superman on the cover with a giant robot, because it was the 50s, right? Yeah, right. Okay, so there were 3 stories in there. The King of Crime, Jimmy Olsen grows up, and the Monsters from Earth. Jumping forward to 1970, because I couldn't find anything in 1960, we got a Superboy cover by Neil Adams, these are some great covers. Superboy's running away from home and saying he's never coming back, because of course he is. The 2 Superboy stories in this was Leave Us or We Perish and The Negative Boy of Steel.
I think I have the wrong cover there.
That's the one from 1960 or 1950 that I grabbed the wrong one, so I didn't want to have to find it. So.
There we go. That's the one.
Yeah. Neil Adams Superboy covers were amazing.
Yeah.
So then, jumping to 1980, we have DC Comics Presents number 26, where Superman teams up with Green Lantern. That is not why this book is worth money. This is also the first appearance of the new Teen Titans in a 16-page preview, which is why this book has consistently garnered pretty fair price tag, especially in recent years that the Titans are so popular. You also have Justice League of America number 183, which also came out on July 10th. That is part of the Crisis on New Genesis JSA JLA crossover. This was, sadly, the last issue of Justice League drawn by Dick Dillon. He died unexpectedly, and George Perez took over for him after that. Also in 1980, you have Superman number 352, which has a World of Krypton story in the background, but a really cool Marv Wolfman story as the main story with Destiny, who would go on to become one of the Endless in the Sandman series. You also have World's Finest Comics number 265, which had the Superman-Batman story Magic Menace This Way Comes, and you have Superman and Robin on the cover, which is pretty slick. My favorite, and this is going to surprise no one, is the one from 1990, Action Comics number 656. It is part of the Soul Search storyline, where Superman has to go and fight a character named Blaze to save Jimmy Olsen and Jerry White, and it's a Kerry Gamble cover where Superman's rolling up his sleeve. He's about to punch somebody dead in the face.
I think I have that one. I'll grab that one for you right now.
This story was great. It's really weird that was 30 years ago, but we're all getting older, right? Oh, there we go. But yeah, Superman just looks amazing on that cover. Jumping forward to 2000, this I like too. Superman number 160, which has Superman in a black costume on top and Bizarro on the bottom. This was the Bizarro World, or I think that's what it was called, storyline. No, not Bizarro World, but it turned out to be a big thing with the Joker.
Yes.
And 4 issues later, yep, and Mr. Mxyzptlk is the Joker, steals part of Mixie's powers. 4 issues later, there would be a letter of mine in the book about this issue. So, and then you had JLA number 44, which was part of the Tower of Babel storyline, where where Ra's al Ghul used Batman's secret files on the JLA against them. Real World on July 10th, July 6th, writer and artist John Byrne, who reinvented the Man of Steel in 1986, was born in 1950. On July 10th, Superman artist and co-creator Joe Shuster was born in 1914. And July 11th, Michael Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor, was born in Oceanside, New York in 1972. And that is This Week in History.
Fantastic. To answer Anthony's question, no, we didn't talk about any Justice League, Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon allegations. We're going to steer clear of those kinds of things at this point in time until any kind of further revelations come to hand. It's just kind of all a bit messy at the moment. But look, that is this week's show for now. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to WGBS TV Live. I want to thank all our contributors, our Super Chat posts, our sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And if you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, head to patreon.com/Superman homepage, where you can be a sponsor for as little as $1. Also, you might like to join our Superman homepage YouTube channel, where you can become a member for just $1. And if you want to check out the Superman homepage website for this show, you can watch it in full, tune in late, you maybe want to catch up parts of the show, you can head to both our website and YouTube channel to watch it in full. But thanks for watching tonight's show, and thank you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, it's pleasure as always, Steve.
Yeah, there's Michael.
Venkman wanted a Bibbo impersonation, and that's all I can do right now, because my voice is a little scratchy tonight for some reason.
COVID.
Soder.
So you will be back next week on Tuesday, July 14th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. We look forward to talking to you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.